that is less crowded on the road to success than the road to mediocrity.
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Pooski and welcome back to another video. And ladies and gentlemen, finally we are back and we are going to do a video on the Usbc Masters 2024. As y'all know, I was out there in Vegas for the practice sessions and actually for the first qualifying rounds. I only went to the first practice session literally and met some of the players, you know, Kevin Williams, Tim Foy of course, Packy, Anthony Simonson, Daria, so on and so forth. I met a whole bunch. Finally met Darren Tang at South Point. Not there, but at South Point. Didn't meet Belmonte, it's alright. But Kyle Sherman I met. Yeah, yada yada. But that's nice and all. But we're here to talk about the actual show. It is a Usbc event. So you're seeing your purple hammers. You're seeing your pitch blacks. You know, they got to use their good old urethanes, even though on that left side for those lefties, my goodness, if you see the pattern, hopefully I can pull it up here. The left side was way different from the right side, and I mean, of course, it made it more challenging for the lefties, but at the same time, it was like, damn. But anyways, let's go ahead and let's talk about the show and get into it. Your finalists are the number 5 seed, Richard Teese, the number 4 seed, Sam Cooley, Mr. Cool Dude. I like his vibe. I don't know. It's just, he's just so cool, calm, and collected. The number 3 seed, Jason Belmonte. The number 2 seed, Patrick Dombrowski. And your number 1 seed, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how long it's been, but a black man is on a PBA telecast, Ron Booker. Brotherly love right there is good to see. Y'all know what I mean. It's obvious. It's very obvious if you watch PBA. It's good to see a brother. Alright. But anyways, we're here to talk about the show. So let's get into the first match. Richard Teese versus Sam Cooley. So Richard Teese starts us off, and he starts off with that attention star and comes out striking. Sam Cooley comes out with the Crimson Jackal. He strikes in the first frame, but in the second frame he leaves a 10-pin, but he picks it up. Richard strikes in the second frame, but in the third frame he leaves a 2-10 split. And when he goes to pick it up, he only gets the 2-pin. Sam Cooley strikes in the third frame, but in the fourth frame he leaves a 7-pin, but he picks it up. And as we can tell, this left lane is going to be the tricky lane of the day. Richard Teese leaves a 10-pin in the 4th and the 5th frames, but he only picks up one of them as he picks it up in the 4th frame, but he whiffs it in the 5th frame.
Missed it. Oh no.
Sam Cooley comes out and he strikes in the 5th frame, but leaves the 4-pin in the 6th frame, but he picks it up. Now in the 6th frame, Richard Teese gets it a little bit left and he leaves the 3-6-10 split, and he picks it up. And in the 7th, he comes a little high, but he gets it to go. Gets a strike.
There we go.
Sam Cooley comes out and he strikes in the 7th and the 8th frames. Richard Teese leaves a 4-pin in the 8th frame, but in the 9th frame, he goes way out the window, way towards the right, but he picks it up. Cooley gets it left in the 9th frame, but he picks that up. Comes high in the 10th to lead the 4-pin, but it is enough to beat Richard Teese, and he moves on to the next match against the GOAT, Jason Belmonte. Alright, so now we have Sam Cooley versus Jason Belmonte. Sam Cooley decides to stick with that Crimson Jackal, but he leaves a 10-pin, but picks it up in the first frame. Jason Belmonte starts off with a ball that I have not seen that much, a Tour Dynamics, and he leaves a Stone 9 to start the game off.
Watch out.
But he picks it up, and in the second frame, he gets a strike. Cooley's ball comes high in the second frame, leaving him a nasty split. Hey, but he converts it.
What a pickup!
And goes on to strike in the third frame.
Oh yeah.
Belmonte strikes in the third, but in the fourth frame, like I said, this left lane is going to be the tricky lane of the day. It leaves him the 3 and the 4, but he picks it up. Cooley strikes in the fourth frame, but in the fifth frame on that left lane, he also comes high, just like Jason Belmonte did, and leaves a 3-pin, but he picks it up. In the fifth frame, Belmonte gets it a little bit left and leaves the 4-pin, but he picks that up and goes on to strike in the 6th frame. Out of the commercial break, Cooley strikes in the 6th frame, but on that left lane, and in the 7th frame, he cannot get anything to go as he leaves a 4-pin, and of course he picks it up. Belmonte strikes in the 7th frame, and finally on that left lane in the 8th. Cooley in the 8th frame cannot get anything to go, and he leaves a 10-pin. He picks that up, and in the 9th frame he cannot get it to go as he leaves 2 pins standing and only gets 1 when he tries to convert it. Belmonte comes out and he adds 1 more strike to that total to make it a nice old ham bone 4 in a row in the 9th frame. And in the 10th frame, knowing that basically with this shot he already wins, all he needs is a few pins, he takes a look at the attention star and
Ace and even.
So this shot with an eye on the third match.
That one's going to go back in the bag, I think.
And he only gets 2, but like I said, it was more than enough to beat Sam Cooley, and he moves on to the next round, the semifinals versus Patrick Dombrowski. Alright, so we have our semifinal match, Jason Belmonte versus Patrick Dombrowski, and Belmo starts us off and he keeps using that tour dynamics and he gets a little deeper, and ball comes in just a little bit late and leaves the 2-10 split, and Belmo only gets the 2-pin. Patrick Dombrowski starts off with an interesting ball choice, Jason Belmonte's Storm Fate, and he starts off with a double.
Yet for Patrick Dombrowski.
Right of Belmonte on that right lane.
Belmo then comes out and puts a double together himself.
That's back on that left lane. Messenger, get down!
Dombrowski adds another strike to that and gets himself a turkey in the 3rd, but in the 4th frame he leaves the 4-pin and he picks up the 4-pin. 4. I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Maybe it's not funny. You guys can tell me in the comments and subscribe. Belmonte also puts together a turkey by striking another time in the 4th frame, but in the 5th frame he sends a messenger that does not hit the 10-pin, but he goes ahead and picks that up. Dombrowski leaves another 4-pin in the 5th frame, but in the 6th frame his ball comes way too high, and let me read this, leaves a 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, but he almost picked it up. Belmonte comes high in the 6th frame, but he picks up the 9-pin and strikes in the 7th. Dombrowski has a messenger that comes over and takes out that 10-pin in the 7th frame, and he also strikes in the 8th frame.
To improve my game. Big strike right there. And
Belmonte leaves a 10-pin in the 8th frame, but he picks that up, and in the 9th frame he pulls left and leaves a Dombrowski in the 9th frame gets it right in. The ball doesn't even hook at all, and it leaves the 2-10 split, and he only gets the 2-pin. Now Dombrowski moves to the 10th frame, and he has to put something together here to put a little bit of pressure on Jason Belmonte. With his first shot, he leaves the 7-pin, but he picks that up, and with his last shot in the 10th frame, he strikes. Now, here comes Jason Belmonte. All he needs to do is mark and move on to the championship match. AKA, he just needs a closed frame, meaning a spare strike. So he comes up and
way right of target. Are you kidding me?
the worst thing possible happens. He leaves a 8-10 split. He had to pick it up, but of course, I mean, that's a difficult spare to get. He only gets the 10 pin. Dombrowski moves to the championship match against D-Ron Booker.
I should have stopped. Why didn't I?
Here we go. Here we go. D-Ron Booker, the #1 seed. Patrick Dombrowski, the #2 seed. The championship match is upon us. Let's get into it. Patrick Dombrowski decides, hey, that fate's working for me, so let me stick with it, and he comes out with a strike.
Ohio, just south of Cleveland, starts us off on the left lane. Great start, Patrick.
D-Ron Booker, first show, got a little bit of nerves on him, comes out and he Brooklyn's his first shot.
First shot on television.
He's smiling. He's showing that, hey man, I'm a little bit nervous. He's honestly showing that, darn, this is cool. I'm enjoying the moment. He knows, man, I got a little bit of nerves. It's all right. We'll lock in, and he picks it up. Now, the one thing that I noticed and that everyone noticed with D-Ron, he does not wipe off his ball. He is probably one of the only bowlers I know, except for like old heads around the bowling centers, but one of the only pros I know that does not wipe their ball off. So it was surprising to see him just wait for the ball and just pick it up and go bowl. Usually you see bowlers, boom, wait, you know, get yourself organized, and then they go. No, not him. He's, like I said, he got the nerves out with that first shot after going Brooklyn, and comes out in the second frame and strikes. Dombrowski in the second frame comes out and he strikes also, but gets it left in the third frame and leaves the 3-10 split, and he only picks up the 10. Booker leaves the 10 pin in the third frame, but he strikes in the fourth frame.
D gets all 10.
Dombrowski leads the 10 pin in the fourth frame, but he picks that up, and in the fifth frame, the nastiest thing happens. He leaves the big 4.
Hates it again.
Yep, right through the nose.
Oh, man.
Big 4.
And all he could do was pick up the 6 and the 10 pin. D-Ron comes up in the fifth frame and he leaves the 4 pin, but he picks that up, and in the sixth frame, my boy got carried on his side as the ball comes a little bit high, and luckily he had a nice friendly old pin that trips out the 4 and the 9 pin. Dombrowski comes out and he has a little bit of carry on his side as he strikes in the 6th and the 7th frame.
The 5th, here he is in the 6th. Get down! Double for Dom.
D-Ron comes out and he gets another strike in the 7th frame, but in that 8th frame, it was a bit of a controversial call. We had to go to the VAR. Had a little bit of a controversial call. We had to blow the whistle. We had to call a timeout and have it under review, as D-Ron had a messenger roll over to the 10 pin and knocked it over. The word was, if it touched the rack, I guess you could say, touched the pin setter or rack, that it would not count. But luckily, it did not. And count it!
You serious? No, it's not under review. That's a drop.
I think it's good.
Take your VAR away from me. That's a good strike. You bet it is.
Dombrowski's ball in the 8th frame has a little bit of a deflection, leaves him the 5 pin, but he picks that up and he strikes in the 9th. Booker misses left and comes high in the 9th to leave a 6 pin, but he picks that up, and now we move on to the 10th frame. All Booker needs now is a mark and some pins to win this match. Now this is a lot of pressure for Booker. Not only could he win a major title, not only could he win on his first show, he could become the 3rd African American PBA bowler to win a PBA tour title and a major.
Only needs a mark to join these two people, George Branham and Gary Faulkner Jr., as African Americans to win on the PBA tour.
Yeah, not just any wins, majors.
Majors.
George Branham III, great friend of mine. We used to room together. We grew up in Southern California bowling juniors together.
With his first shot in the 10th frame, he leaves a 9 pin.
Booker.
Now, some may say that this should be an easy pickup But when you got all that pressure on you, you got all this stuff going on, you know, your nerves could get the best of you. You remember, at the beginning of the match, he Brooklyn his first shot. So he takes a deep breath and he picks it up.
Drops it, 2 pins away.
And now, all he needs to get is 2 pins to win this match. And what does he do? He gets 9.
For Booker.
For the Masters, he's got it!
And D-Ron Booker becomes your 2024 PBA Usbc Masters Champion.
History on Fox.
Again.
Everybody in the club make it loud. And let me hear some noise from the crowd. It's Detroit, baby, gotta make it loud.